In this video, I'm going to teach you how to win with the FHA loan, how to use it strategically, save money, strengthen your offer, and take advantage of benefits most buyers don't even know about. Number one, don't put more money down just because you can. One of the biggest advantages of FHA is that qualified borrowers, they can purchase with as little as 3.5% down. That doesn't mean you should automatically put the smallest amount down, but it does mean you have options. And that's a big thing about having options. You always want options when it comes to whatever you're doing. Now, let's say you had $25,000 saved up. Instead of putting every dollar that you have into the down payment, you may be able to use FHA to keep some of that money available for different things like, let's say, moving expenses, furniture, emergency savings, or even repairs after closing, because in some cases you may need to do some repairs, or just simply keeping money in the bank just for a rainy day. But buying a house is only part of the equation. You still have to be financially comfortable after you actually get the keys. A lot of people have been in situations where they scramble and try to put a whole, put as much money together as possible, and they acquired a house, but then they instantly run into issues as far as, let's say, you got to put in a new furnace as soon as you move into the property. You had to replace some windows, or, just small things. You may have to do some painting or things like that. And then you didn't have the money or the reserves for it. You don't want to run into those type of problems. Now, FHA requires at least 3.5% minimum investment. And you also have to have a credit score of at least 580 or higher. This is the lender requirements. And in some cases, it can be even more restrictive. Number two, use seller concessions strategically. Now, this is where FHA can get really interesting. With FHA financing, interested party, such as the seller, they can contribute towards the allowable closing costs. Yes, I said it. The seller can contribute to the closing costs for you purchasing your property. Now, prepaid expenses and certain other financing costs that are subject to FHA limits, the credits can also go towards that as well. So what exactly does this mean? That means instead of only negotiating, can you get a lower price, or can you just lower the price? We can sometimes look at it differently. We can negotiate to actually improve your overall financial position. Now, what can we negotiate that actually improves the financial position? For example, depending on the transaction, a seller credit could potentially help cover closing costs and be used towards discount points to reduce the interest rates. We'll discuss discount points at a later time, but it's really something that's beneficial that you need to know about. So imagine you're buying a $250,000 house, right? And getting a seller to drop the price by $5,000 might not be dramatically different as far as on your monthly payment. But here's where it really get interesting. But getting thousands of dollars towards your allowable closing costs could significantly reduce how much money you need to bring to closing. Now, understand what that means. While yes, they can go down on the purchase price of like $5,000, and it may, let's say it drops your payment $50, but you still have to bring $10,000 to the closing table. So if the seller actually gives you, instead of dropping a price, they give you, let's just say $7,500 in seller's concessions. That means you only got to bring $2,500 to the closing table for you to get your house. That's why you don't just negotiate the price. You negotiate the structure of the deal. You see why it's not always about prices, how you structure it to make it make sense overall. FHA's interested party contribution rules permits contributions up to 6% within FHA requirements. Number three, you don't necessarily have to save the entire down payment yourself. Guys, this is huge. A lot of clients, they think that they got to save the entire thing up front, but that's not true. Another FHA advantage that people overlooked is gift funds. And I'm going to tell you straight up, gift funds can really save you when it comes to purchasing your property, because a lot of people don't even truly understand. You really just need to get into the door. Once you get into the door, that's when a lot of other things start to open up for you. Now, FHA permits eligible gift funds from approved sources. Remember, all money has to be documented within any type of residential real estate transaction, really, as far as like getting the loans and things like that. So if you qualify for the mortgage, but you're short on the money needed to complete the transaction, we can determine whether an eligible gift source can help. Now, that's important because I don't want somebody sitting on the sidelines for another 2 years thinking I can't buy until I save every penny myself. Sometimes the money is the problem. Sometimes the financing strategy is the problem. And that's really where I come in at, because I solve those problems for my clients. Now, those are two completely different things, right? Now, HUD specifically notes that FHA down payments funds can come from an eligible gift source, such as certain family members. And your employers can contribute. You got charitable organizations and subject to FHA documentation requirements, right? Now, number 4, FHA can be a house hacking tool. This one is really big, okay? This is probably one of my favorite FHA strategies right here, okay? Now, FHA isn't limited to just a traditional single family house. Now, I'm telling you guys, this one is really powerful, so you really want to take some notes here. Eligible FHA financing can be used on 1 to 4 unit properties when the property will be your principal residence. So what does that mean? That means you can literally find you a quadruplex, right? You got 4 units in this building or in this structure. It's still classified as residential. You can live in one and you can rent the other 3 out. That's a completely different strategy, because think of it like this. You're living in your property. Nobody controls what you do. But you also have 3 other renters living in the other units, paying you rent on a consistent basis, right? That does a few things just right off the top of the head. 1, it decreases your overall expenses. Why? Because you no longer have to pay for your own mortgage anymore. You got 3 other people doing it, and you live in technically payment free. 2, it also helps bring your income, as far as on the tax side, it brings your taxable income down. Why? Because you're losing money on paper, right? And then 3, you get an income. That's why real estate is the ideal investment. Ideal is income, depreciation, equity, appreciation, and leverage. This is where this can be super beneficial for you. So theoretically, instead of purchasing one house where you're responsible for the entire mortgage payment by yourself, you could purchase a duplex, triplex, 4 unit, right? And live in one and rent out the others, like I just said. Now we're starting to look at ownership differently. You're not simply asking, what house can I afford? You putting on your investor hat now, because you want to make money off of what you have available. It's called creating executive opportunities. You're asking, how can this property help me build wealth? That's where it's really important at. Now, there are additional underwriting requirements when rental income and multi-unit properties are involved. So not every property or the borrower will qualify. Just keep that in mind. You got to qualify for everything. All right. So you want to make sure you're working with a professional and you are getting everything in line to where when you submit everything, it's no issues. Right now, this is exactly why you want to understand your options before you actually start shopping. You should never go talk to a realtor without actually knowing that you can purchase what you're trying to go, acquire. That's just like going to the grocery store with no money. You fill up a whole shopping cart and then you get to the checkout line. No money. You just wasted your time, the people bagging, you wasted everybody's time. Now, HUD identifies eligible FHA 203B properties as 1 to 4 unit structures used as a principal residence. Super big. Make sure you guys remember that. Number 5, make your FHA offer look strong. Now, here's the part buyers really need to understand. The loan program doesn't determine whether you're a strong buyer. How prepared you are does. Now, if I'm working with the FHA buyer who wants to compete, I want as much of the mortgage work completed up front as possible. What does that mean? The income has been reviewed, assets has been reviewed, credit documents have been collected. Any potential underwriting issues addressed, we got to get that situated, right? Because when your real estate agent submits that offer, I want the conversation with the listing agent to sound something like this. My buyer's qualified. I reviewed the file. We know exactly what we're doing and we're prepared to close. That's completely different because you already know, hey, I'm approved already. My money, everything is set aside. We waiting on you. This offer is being put in. We don't need to go get finance. We don't need none of that. We ready to go. How do you think that message is going to convey to the other party on the opposite side? So I'm like, oh, okay, we about to get paid. Everybody want to get paid. Now that's completely different from somebody who filled out an application 5 minutes before making the offer. Listen, I'm telling you now, if you are going to see properties without making sure that you are already qualified, you already got the funding and everything is ready to go, you're doing yourself and the people who's working with you a disservice. Don't do it. And we also want real estate agents looking for properties that are likely to work with FHA financing as well. Now remember, FHA properties still have appraisal and property eligibility requirements also. So preparation makes the difference. Now I got a bonus for you. I don't want you to be afraid of an FHA appraisal. I know some people out there, they say FHA appraisals are so strict and things like that. Don't be afraid of them, okay? Now some buyers hear FHA appraisal and immediately get nervous. The FHA appraisal isn't designed to stop you from purchasing a house. The appraiser is looking at value while also evaluating whether the property meets FHA property requirements. That's another reason your real estate agent and loan officer need to communicate. Guys, if you got an agent that's not communicating with your loan officer or vice versa, that's not the interested party. That you don't want to be a part of that, because they're not communicating, which means they're not synchronized. By they're not being synchronized, they're not doing the best job that they can do for you as an individual. You're the client. They need to be there to serve and help you. Now, if we recognize obvious property issues before you write the offer, we can determine whether the FHA makes sense for that particular property. Now, choose the right financing and the right property. That's super big, okay? So when somebody tells you conventional is always better, oh, only poor people get FHA, don't believe none of that, because that is so far from the truth, okay? And then sellers, they don't like FHA. I don't think, only some people who are not educated will say certain things like that, because at the end of the day, like, if you have an FHA loan and the seller say, oh, we don't want FHA, that's a clear indication that they know something, and they know there's a really good chance that their property won't appraise for the value that they selling it at, because something is wrong with it to where it can't pass an FHA appraisal. So just keep that in mind, okay? Don't automatically accept that either. The better question to ask is really this: which loan gives you the best overall strategy? Because FHA can potentially allow you to put less money down, preserve more of your savings, use eligible gift funds, which means you have more accessible funds, negotiate allowable seller concessions, more money for you, purchase certain multi-unit properties, you're in the door, investments now as well, and become a homeowner without waiting until everything in your financial life is perfect. Now you see why this all makes sense? The goal isn't to get an FHA loan. The goal is to use the right mortgage to put you in the strongest financial position possible. It's a huge difference, okay? And that's exactly what I help my clients figure out. So if you're thinking about purchasing a home and you want to know what your options actually look like based on your income, your credit, assets, and goals, reach out to me. I'll help you. Don't worry. Now, don't guess about whether you're ready. Just look at the numbers and build a strategy from there. And that's what I'll help you do. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Make sure you go down to the link inside the description and reach out to me. Talk soon.